Namaste everyone, Dr. Parth Vyas here. Let us start a wonderful, quick sound healing session. Just close your eyes and start to take a deep breath. Allow yourself to go deeper into this beautiful journey of divine sound healing meditation. Feel yourself comfortable. deeply relax. When you come out, you feel so happy, confident, energetic, and very blissful. Now you can slowly open your eyes and feel your aura, your vibration, your presence in your body. Thank you very much.
Welcome to another presentation of the Globe Sound Healing Conference. Now we've got Harry Rhodes. Hi, Harry.
Hi.
Welcome, welcome. Harry has for years begged for natural and scientific knowledge. From an educational viewpoint, he was a clean slate. He had a simple education and never went to college or university. And from just 6 years old, he experimented with everything he could lay his hands on. He smashed open his first Etch-a-Sketch within hours just to find out how it could draw, as if by magic. More recently, he desperately wanted to understand and turn knowledge into technology that help all life to heal and flourish. There's a great awakening happening now, and it covers every field and subject for all life. He feels privileged and humbled to be entrusted with knowledge that has laid foundations for not just helping to heal people, but changing our whole environment to a healthy, feel good place to enjoy. He's grateful that someone somewhere presented some amazing and natural technologies that have proven to be awe inspiringly real. Subjects such as cancer, asthma, the weather, how to restructure water, and how to make plants grow naturally at almost twice their current pace and size, reverse vaccine damage, and much more. His prized desire is to see this earth being converted into a paradise full of healthy, fulfilled people on a beautiful, healthy planet. He has two sayings: make Earth great again, that's mega, MEGA, and only results count.
That's right.
Yes. Welcome, welcome. What have you been up to lately?
Ooh, where did you start? I've got a factory dedicated to the cause. It's quite expensive to run, but it's we manufacture certain things there. We've only just moved in the premises. Um, we've got a website called onlyresultscount.com. That's doing pretty good.
What's the website again?
Onlyresultscount.com.
Cool.
And I think that pretty well sums it up. Only results do count. We have so many things that this is going to happen and we don't get the result, and we hear it again and we don't get the result. I like to see products that if it says it's going to do something, the person comes back and said, Harry, that's incredible. It's worked. And that's all I'm interested in.
Nice. Excellent. Okay, so I got the big question. If you had all the money in the world, what would you do to help people?
Um, I think my bio summed it up really. When I use the word paradise, that means pretty well everything's fixed. You can't have a paradise if you're dying of old age. You can't have a paradise if you wake up in pain every day. A paradise means you've got all the food you need to eat, all the land you'd wish to live on, and all the health you could ever wish for, along with your family, of course, and a roof over your head. The family's under massive attack, and I include that for myself as well. So, yeah, paradise, all encompassing. I think it's something everybody wants.
How would we do it? How would we start?
I'll show you a few tricks this evening.
Okay, kind of your whole talk, huh? Yeah. You know, it was interesting. About 6 months ago, thinking about a paradigm for how healing works, I got a download where I thought we've actually got the Holy Grail now. of how to heal every disease there is.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I've got the best all-time first ever made drug from 1876. I've got it here tonight. It's the most successful drug ever made. I'll tell you how it's made and how it works. And dare I say this, it's a dangerous statement to make, but if everybody knew about it, it would bankrupt the pharmaceutical industry.
Well, what I've figured out is there's a few ways to not die. Right? One is to get the hospitals involved. So they're leading it, which is mostly FDA approval and things like that, or to go to other countries that are much more open and get it embedded so that people demand it. Right?
Mm.
I mean, Asia is much easier to get into the medical system and make changes. And Europe's much easier than US even, although still tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us, so uh, you created the med bed, right?
Not completed yet. Got all the materials. Um, believe it or not, this is for the open-minded. I worked with Nikola Tesla's family in Mauritius, building water electric generators, with a difference. Things like even spirals and toruses this thing creates can actually form an energy. I'll show you that working in a moment. Sorry, what was your question again?
Oh, the med bed.
Oh, yes. Um, yeah, Nikola Tesla used to get downloads, accurate, very high detailed downloads at 3:33 in the morning. And if he didn't write it down, he couldn't remember what it was. So he used to wake up when it's rattling in his head, he'd write it down, he'd do the sketch, he'd do the drawing, and when he woke up, he'd see it. And never, ever, when he built one of those, did it not work. Fascinating. I've had that from the MedBed.
Oh, so did you get downloads or is it some information from Nikola Tesla?
Download
Hmm.
at 3:33.
How's it work?
It's all to do with this. Have you seen one of these?
Tilt it up a little bit. Let's see. Oh, no, what's that?
A torus.
Oh, okay.
Are
Okay.
you watching?
A flat torus. There we go. There's a torus.
That's the torus.
Hmm.
There's you.
The structure of the universe.
Yes, absolutely. There are no solid parts. I was at CERN talking to top scientists in front of a crowd. I'm not educated. I've never been university. I didn't even go for further education. And I said to these scientists, so tell me about this £7 billion particle accelerator. It's a particle accelerator. Yes. Have you found a particle yet? No. I said, what do you mean? Well, we haven't found a solid particle yet. So space is made of almost nothing. And he had to admit, yes. So you spent £7 billion on a particle accelerator, and there are no particles, and you haven't found one yet. That's correct. That's a bit embarrassing. Well, everything's made of toruses, and the energy is in pockets of toruses within toruses. And I saw a fantastic video on the, well, not the Fibonacci, but the shape that repeats itself and repeats itself almost indefinitely forever, from large to small. And as you know, frequencies and the link between the frequencies in the ether. I think the ether is fantastic. It's the structure of the universe that we can't see. And Nikola Tesla talked about the ethers. He said it controls the speed of light, electricity, magnetism, and without ether, it even controls all the shape of the torus as well. And it's not in time and place. It's outside time and place. That takes you getting your head around it. But that's why no matter what he did, it worked. because he understood that.
It's like the null point. It's like even uh, who's the guy that blanking on his name that talks about actual tetrahedrons filling space, right? And you're
Yes.
saying it's more toruses. Or
Um,
no, ether said toruses in the body and ether in the universe. Is that what you said?
yeah, the body is a torus from the heart. The torus of the heart, there's two vortices in the heart. And that's to do, I believe, with the ether, because everybody thinks your heart pumps blood. Wrong. Only 20% of it is pumping the blood. The other 80% is the electric charge, the capacitive charge from the two vortices, and the negative ions on the inner walls of the veins and arteries create a magnetic field, and the blood skips every time the heart beats. There's positive ions on the outer, negative ions in the inner. Well, we've got salt, which is conductive, and we've got iron, which is magnetic, and the blood skips electrically. 80% of it skips electrically, which is why we have massive problems when we're in the wrong frequencies.
Uh-huh.
Microwaves, it causes blood clots.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I've got blood clots in my left leg. Yeah.
I could cure that in 4 minutes,
Okay, let's do
guarantee
it. With the
you.
water? With the water?
You want to see it again?
Yeah, yeah. So when you say toruses, so is there like you said there's multiple layers of toruses. Would you say there's a torus around each cell and around each organ? Because there's also the morphogenetic fields that people talk about, which are the different energy fields. I've worked with uh, the nutrient energetic system. In fact, all of my music is actually based on the remedies from the nutrient energetic system that totally pings the morphogenetic fields in your body. It sounds like
Yes,
those are similar.
yes. The vowels form a different torus. Every vowel is a different torus shape, and the consonants control the torus. That's a
Mhm.
fascinating subject. I've just recorded this fascinating lady's voice. Her history goes back. One of the most fascinating ladies I've ever met. Her voice is hypnotic. And I went to one of Europe's top recording studios and recorded her saying the alphabet and the vowels drawn out. I then got a technician to take those vowels. We did it in 432, which 432 hertz.
Mhm.
And we then put the octaves either side of it. And then we added the other vowels to it. So you can play around with it in all different ways. Makes a fantastic healing frequency. And that's what's going in the med bed.
Okay. Okay. So the idea, it sounds like the concept, I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. It has to do with creating coherent toruses to entrain the body's toruses into their coherence as well.
Correct. The beauty for the torus is once a torus is working, it reacts with all other toruses. That's within the ether. It doesn't matter where it is in the universe, there is a reaction within the energy field of the ether.
It's
Is
go
the
ahead.
ether, the ether, the elites know about the ether. They do. And for example, you can get your mobile phone and you're on the phone internet and you send a photo through your phone over the phone system. It might go up to Manchester, London, Glasgow, or I don't know, wherever the main servers are. They're not local, that's for sure. And it comes all the way back. It goes through the internet, through your Wi-Fi box, and on your computer. And you go click, it goes ping. In a split second, it appears when you've got a good connection, guys. And they call that the Ethernet.
It's funny. I never thought of that. So okay, so how does the ether tie into it? Is that like the cosmic energy? I mean, or is it just the uh pathway to get the toruses into the body?
Yeah. Um, it's a pretty deep subject. I don't think anybody fully understands it. Nikola Tesla didn't fully understand it, but what he did understand about it, everything worked. So there's something within the ether that he understood. I make etheric capacitors. That's one.
You got
And
a rocket. What's that?
It's a weather modification tool, and it works exceptionally well. It's an etheric capacitor, and it's all about potentials.
It's about what? Oh my God, you got the flower of life in it.
Yeah.
Huh.
And there's two sets of mirrors and two-way mirrors. There's layers of organic and metallic material in, which is what Wilhelm Reich. This technology has come straight from Wilhelm Reich's family and people who've developed it. There's hundreds of years' work to end up with just that. And I've got a team of 60 odd people, probably 40, 50 in the UK. There's another 40 or 50 in California. And we heal the weather. If we get major storms coming in,
So
we can easily
you just
move the
pointed up.
jet stream.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
you just pointed up in the sky. It's not electrified. You don't have to plug it in or anything.
No.
Yeah.
And how it works, he makes an etheric connection. When you understand it and you see it, I can send you videos on this. It's mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. We stopped the UK jet stream only 4 days ago with some private deployments. They forecast winter, minus 12 degrees, and we know that there's potential to drop the grid. And if you lose your electric, you use your gas boiler as well. We suspect that was happening. We bent the jet stream and brought warm air up from North Africa, and it was plus 12 degrees, not minus 12. And they scratch their heads and they don't mention anything. I don't normally talk about this.
Yeah. Oh my God. So,
but I couldn't have a team of 60 people if it didn't work for the last 10 years, could I?
So it cleans up, it gets rid of the clouds. Does it get rid of chemtrails and things like that too? Mm-hmm.
And potentially clear 6,000 square miles of chemtrails with a double barrel cannon, which is
just clean up the air completely, really.
Well, there's actually no energy in the article itself. If you'd got, say, you've got 50,000 volts at 2 points, and it's trying to arc, if you dropped a copper wire across it, all hell breaks loose. All this does is make the connection on an etheric flow. That's all it does. But it does it incredibly well.
So it's potential of cleaning up the air throughout big cities then.
Yeah, in the 1990s, Trevor James Constable did it. He put a $1 million bet. All the scientists were looking at the smog, and he guaranteed anybody, because they always went there that time of year when the smog was worst, and he guaranteed there will be no smog. This is a week in advance. And they all turned up. It cost nearly $2 million for all these people to turn up from around the world to study the smog. And there wasn't a single note of anywhere of any smog at all for the whole week. And they all went home.
Mm-hmm.
That's all in history.
So
there's videos of him putting them on aircraft and helicopters, and there's drought. And when you compress the ether, as soon as he turned around and came back, he's got thunderstorms following the plane back in.
Oh. So it's basically based on energy systems, based on that metal and the flower of life?
Partially, yes. You've always got to have two potentials.
Two what?
This is what Nicholas, you must always have at least two potentials.
Potentials?
Yes. You've got to have positive, negative, wet, dry, light, dark. It's similar to, frequencies. You can drop a pebble in a pond and you have one wave that follows out from the point and it goes out. But if you drop two pebbles, where the waves meet, it kicks up. And that's the potential you're looking for. Within two potentials, that works in frequencies. But, so what we do, we get the potential of the atmosphere and the potential of the earth, which is always different. That's why we have lightning.
Mm-hmm.
So Wilhelm Reich said, this is very similar to a lightning discharge, but in slow motion. That's exactly what it is. It releases the potentials. You can either feed it or you can bleed it, and you can control the potential of the capacitor.
So it's, would you say it's the frequency of the metal that creates that transformation
Um,
between the earth and the air?
it creates a vortex inside it as an etheric
Mm,
charge, and it goes
okay.
forward. If I remove the back cap, then we actually have, which means screw it off, um, and it's the same in the back as well. This is slightly different. This one's wet. There's one inside this one as well.
Uh-huh.
Um, and there's a special bullet that fits in here, which is cone shaped, and it has a coil on the back. The amazing thing about the ether, this is what we've discovered, and it was known anyway, is that it travels, it likes shiny surfaces, it reacts on the surface as a field. For example, electricity doesn't run through copper wire. It's impossible. It runs on the etheric field of the surface of the copper wire. Most electricians don't realize that. And ether's the same. When you look at the Earth as a planet, it would work on the surface of the planet. That's why it's mostly covered in water. Water's very, very closely related to the Earth.
It's interesting. It makes me think of the fact that sound travels across the top of the water really well. And I always figured it has to do with a temperature inversion that is only
Mm-hmm.
so high above the water, so the sound bounces between the the temperatures, right?
Yeah,
So it sounds like somewhat similar to having it travel along the surface.
it's funny you should mention that. That's how Willem Wright discovered how to make a cloudbuster. That was the time he discovered the ether. On his boat, he'd got a boat cabin, or what you call it, and the marina. And there had scaffolds there, scaffold tubes, and some of the scaffold tubes were in the water. And when he walked across, it lifted up, the water ran down, and when it dropped down again, the water ran back. And he saw this etheric wave go woof, and it shot across the lake, non-stop, kept going. And he thought, I can't believe what I just saw then. And he did it again. And this wave shot again in the air, shot across the surface of the lake. And that's when he started proving the ether is for real.
Wow.
And it could affect the ether.
So is the ether a geometric shape also?
Um, it's all geometric shapes. The ether is the ultimate life energy. It's life energy force as well. Or you call it orgon, chi. It's very much with an intention. And it comes from inner intention for the control of it. It's a fascinating subject. I mean, in the beginning was the word. That's how the universe came about. It was thought first.
So this is the quantum field we're talking about,
Yeah.
really. Right. And now, what about scalar waves? Is this scalar waves?
You're probably going into other areas that you're better at than me, be honest with you. You can't know everything. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, I'm interested in scalar waves because they use that partially to create gravity waves with superdawn. You've got the vertical and the horizontal, you got NEXRADs and that sort of thing. We can see them changing the atmosphere.
Uh-huh. But really, the core aspect of this is intention is this energy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's
Yes.
proven in quantum physics that you can change that. I mean, there's a research study at what I think MIT University where they had 1.2 million people try and change the numbers coming out of a computer. And if they weren't there, it was perfectly balanced zeros and ones. And they statistically were able to, with this many people, able to absolutely change the zeros and ones coming out of the computer with their intention.
Yeah. It's now scientifically proven as well that the intention can form 3D. It can change literally what's in front of them. And they block this. They know what we're capable of. And have you heard the expression, we are created in God's image? That's a massive statement. He's the creator. And it's said that even spirit creatures are jealous of us because we are creators.
Hmm.
And they're not.
Well, they said Sai Baba got so good at it that he was manifesting stuff in his hand all the time that they started taxing him for the things he would manifest in his hand, right? And then Alice Bailey says to be able to manifest something, you first have to connect to your soul frequency and your personality frequency. Then you have to basically visualize the harmonic structure of that thing and then use the magic word. And she says they don't give out the magic words because it can be a little dangerous, right? And then you can manifest anything physically. I mean,
Yes.
I mean, probably the number one thing that people haven't learned is how to manifest. A lot
Yes.
of people can open their hearts these days. We've actually gotten pretty far along with that.
Mm.
Most people can open their hearts pretty easily. Not all, but most can, right? You get the right energy, but very few people have that control of their mind to be able to actually manifest. And if you don't have the control, I mean, your mind's manifesting whatever next thought comes through. Well, that sucks. Okay, well, manifest that then.
Mm.
Right? And so it's really the number one thing is to get that clarity of focus. So here's something interesting. So it sounds like what we're talking about is toruses are magic and
Absolutely.
spirals are magic and
Everything's a torus. Did you know the embryo forms a torus like a donut and it inverts itself? It's called inversion. It's incredible. And that's when the human being starts. It's like the programming of the whole body about to happen, and it's programmed in a torus.
okay, so
We were a
check the,
torus at the embryo stage.
so
Your blood hemoglobin's a torus.
I've been thinking about Tauruses a lot in the last year, a whole lot actually, because I've got a framework where I look at everything in the body and everything in the universe and nature as music. It's frequencies, which are the notes. It's
Yes.
timbres, which are a combination of frequencies. It's the relationships of the frequencies, which are musical intervals. And then it's the musical flow, which is when it's flowing, smooth flow is the definition of health. Smooth flow without blockages, so a
Yes.
smooth flowing melody and rhythm, right? So it's all music. And many spiritual traditions have talked about this as it being all music. So I start looking at, okay, the torus is the ultimate flow system, right? And so I start thinking, okay, it's a flow system, but if you were to map out it as music, well, there's also the tempo of how fast it's going up and down, which I think is a really important, I would guess, is a
I
really
wish I'd
important.
got the different toruses out because I've got all these lined up and you can see how they work or they go round. And one's like a whip, and there's 5 toruses, one for each vowel.
Wow.
Right?
Wow. That's really so. You said you mapped out the different vowels into the torus. Do you have a video that shows that at all?
Yeah, yeah, I can show you that one. It's not my video, but
Uh-huh.
he put me in the right direction. I thought, wow, this is phenomenal.
Well, you know what we can do is we can insert it later. If you tell me where
Yes,
the video is, I'll find it. We'll insert it here.
okay. Um, yes, we'll try and
Okay,
find
so
that.
we're talking. So it's interesting. It's like you want a smooth flowing torus, smooth flowing, right? And there's different tempos, and I would bet there's different tempos for different metabolisms of people in the body. That metabolism where you're at peace, right? You could say heart coherence or just peace,
Mm.
or where you're one with the universe. Those might all be different tempos of the torus for those different states, because those are the three main states of bliss: peace, heart coherence, where you're running love, and oneness, which Jeffrey Martin can show where you're one with the universe by the EEG map. Right?
The torus is the ultimate connection for everything.
So it's interesting. So I think, okay, if we really want to work this, we're brainstorming now. We really want to work this Taurus thing. Okay, well, you know, there's question. Okay, how do you say the vowel? How exactly do you say the vowel to get the Taurus to be the most effective? What makes the Taurus most
Well, the
effective?
whole head is perfect for creating the frequency waves.
But
It's no coincidence. It's a resonator projector. Your voice, even the two nostrils. Did you know? Do you know why you've got two nostrils, not one?
why?
Because it creates a double vortex
Oh, that's cool.
and a
That's cool.
torus. There's a torus right at the top. And did you know this? Every 40 minutes, one nostril constricts and the other expands, and the torus then stops and goes backwards.
I love it.
And then
I
it
love it.
reverses. So it's going forwards, torus, backwards, torus. And guess where it all takes place?
Well, here's the problem,
Right
though.
below the pineal gland, which is full of water.
Oh, ooh. I imagine there's a torus within that whole contraption of the pineal, pituitary, and hypothalamus. That whole section is probably the
Yeah. And
amazing.
the heart creates a
Uh-huh.
torus all of the body. Every galaxy's got a
Yeah.
torus.
I want to see the multi-layers. I want to see a picture with multi-layers of toruses, right? Okay. So,
I can
okay,
send
but
you
here,
some software where you can create toruses and you can alter the
uh,
mathematics. You can create a
uh,
million different
so
toruses.
we're creating a virtual reality system where you can look down and see a graphic of inside your body. You can see all the different systems. You can choose what system you want. It would be really cool to be able to take a torus off the shelf and drop it into different places in your body and have a corresponding sound to that torus.
Yeah. I built a massive cloudbuster. We went over to Zimbabwe 5 years ago, and there was a massive drought in Cape Town, and people were dying. When I saw an old lady walking nearly 4 miles with a little bottle of water to stay alive, I had to do something. And we flew over there and built this cloudbuster. And within 12 hours of deploying it, thunderstorms came into Cape Town, not forecast. I am not kidding. And we raised £6,500 for me to go there and do it. So the point, what was I going to say? Yes, what I did when I built this, I stayed at an engineer's house who owned a gold mine. And he bought all these 5 engineers. It was great. I got 5 engineers making a cloudbuster. I got all this on video. It was dead funny. And they didn't know what they were building, but they did a damn good
It's
job.
like the device you showed.
Yeah, yes, one of these, only with resonator tubes. And I took my phone and placed it inside one of the tubes. I'll tell you what, the recording of that, it was round, round. I went to the next tube, round. They're all different frequencies. And the harmony of it was this thing's going on inside the cloudbuster, and I don't know where the resonance is coming from, but it's there, and it works incredible. We were 1,500 miles away from where we made it rain. I've got the video and satellite picture of it appearing.
Wow. Let's go back to the voice for a second, because there's one thing that because I'm really interested in figuring out how to maximize the toruses, right? I mean, for us, whether it's a combination of frequencies or vowels or consonants, but check this out. This is what I think about. Is there somebody that could go and do here, let me turn on my original sound so it doesn't get cut off.
You can get online frequency generators, can't you? You can play
Right,
this.
right. You could do that. Or another person could do the exact same sound with the right energy, and the ceiling opens up and purple light comes flowing in, and her life is changed forever and cancer is gone. Right? So the energy that you bring to the vowels is massive. It's the whole deal.
Oh, it
Right?
is.
Right? So that's the deal, is to be able to teach people how to actually be in the right energy, right?
Well, one of the reasons why it works is this. Water has phenomenal memory. Johannes, who sometimes works with Emoto, he would give him talks and Johannes would be there with him.
He's been
we
here
know
before.
Yeah.
Before he passed away.
They could put 100 Blu-ray DVDs on one drop of water and play it back again. How about that? And they had a glass of water next to a laptop, and they connected the frequency to a laptop in New Zealand. This is from Russia. That's where Johannes worked. and they put a drop of blood in it, and the man's DNA appeared in the glass of water in New Zealand.
As a structure?
They could actually read the DNA as they would read DNA. I don't know if they did it, but the man's DNA was confirmed. That's his DNA in the water.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Wow.
So when you think about this now, we know that if you go to water, I hate you, you faggot. It goes all these. I mean, I've got a dark field microscope, and you go into fifth phase, and you can see the structure. It goes ugly. The water becomes almost like it's hell. But when you talk to it and you say, "I love you, I adore you," you're absolutely fantastic. These beautiful flower shapes appear in the water. Now, think about this. We are up to 86% water. And when someone starts poking at you and saying you're a horrible person, your water starts to change inside you. And they can physically make changes in you. That's the thought, isn't it? So if you treat somebody like a flower, their water changes positively.
So it sounds like the trick is to not be defensive, to send love when people are attacking you.
Yes.
Just to
That's
save
why it
yourself.
works.
Just to save yourself.
That's how the defense works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a fascinating subject. And water talks to water. That's the
So
thing.
you've got a water device that will get rid of cancer, right?
This is a vortexer. It's got neodymium magnets around the outside. It's got shungite. Sometimes we use just magnetite on the edge of the magnets. And inside, it has a copper coil there.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Is it electrified, the coil? Oh.
And there's your torus.
So it's just a vortex from the coil and the magnets?
Yes, but the torus, that restructures. That's a water restructuring device. That water's totally different. That's the water that the heart makes in the same double vortex.
Because the heart is actually pumps in a spiral. It doesn't
Yes,
just go like that. It goes in
two
a spiral.
spirals, two
Uh-huh.
vortexes that wrap around each other, clockwise, anti-clockwise, clockwise,
Uh-huh.
anti-clockwise, and it creates an electrical charge. When your heart stops, what did it do? It started up with electrical charge.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it works. So
So
then what
this
you
is what you
do,
said gets rid of blood clots.
yes, when you do this now that's the memory's wide open in this water now. And if you want to put frequencies in it, it's ready for it. It's ready to take whatever you want it to. And that's Schauberger's technique. What we then do, you've heard of pH in water. This is a hydrogen flask.
I've got one of
And
those.
what we do, you then put the structured water into it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the best drinking water on the planet. I say people distill water. You shouldn't drink distilled water. But when you restructure it and then you ionize it, it's perfect.
The only water I've drunk for 10 years now is out of a spring coming out of the rocks. It's
Brilliant.
actually been tested. That's why, in fact, I just went and got a whole bunch of bottles yesterday.
And it's negatively charged. So if I keep this out of the light.
Yeah, I've got one of those exactly.
So that's a hydrogen flask, and you can see it starts to change the water. And it's pH. And most people don't know what pH stands for. What's the two letters? No, it's not a trick question. What's the pH stand for in pH? Everybody goes, oh, it's going to be the right pH. We all know. But what does pH mean?
Negative ions?
Potential hydrogen.
Oh, oh. Wow.
Well, I've got the light on this. I'm trying to show you.
Mm-hmm.
You can probably see it there.
Creating the bubbles.
Yeah, well, you've got one of these, and that's fantastic for drinking. And the reason for that is we live in a positively charged electric suit. What that means is for every time a positive ion goes through your body, you lose a negative ion. Negative ions are like gold dust now, because everything's positively charged. We're like a Belician beacon. And when the body can't get negative ions, it won't let any water in any cell if there's no negative ions in it. It's positively charged outside the cell and negatively charged inside the cell. And there's a thing called aquaporons, and it filters out positive ions and only lets negative ions. So there's your potential again. Positive outside, negative inside. Every cell of the body is an electrical generator. And if it loses its potential, it dies. So at all costs, it must keep out positive ions and lets negative ions in. It will dehydrate before it lets the wrong water in. And that's how blood clots start. When you lose the electrical charge, the hemoglobin sticks together and it's got no static charge to push itself away. And that's how you get blood clots. So microwaves, mobile phones, Wi-Fi cause blood clots. Absolutely. And I do microscopy. 99% of people, sorry, I'm in a conservatory and it's raining. I'll just stop it a second. So when you drink this, within seconds, the body goes, thank you very much. The negative ions rocket straight through the body within seconds, and then it starts to let water in. So it hydrates the body again. So that's how it works.
Do you sell them?
Sorry?
Do you sell them? The
Yes,
Vortex
and on our
box?
website. We have fantastic results of people. When you drink this water, the energy that can you hear this? Oh, right, good. It's quite loud. It's on the conservatory roof. It's raining. I'll send you the video on it. There's a short video in a laboratory where somebody's got blood clots. You drink the water. 4 or 5 minutes later, there's no blood clots.
So does it require putting it through the hydrogenator as well?
Yes. So get the structure of the water right. That's the whole foundation for what you're going to do next. Structured water is very, very desirable. You're drinking structured water. It's straight from primary water from the earth. And it's negatively charged, by the way, which is good.
Yeah, the earth does
then
its
you
own
use
thing,
the
huh?
ionizer.
Yeah.
There's
So,
another product, and it's this.
Miracle Blue.
Methylene blue. It was invented in 1876. When they were shipping cotton from Africa, it'd gone rotten by the time the ship had got to where it was going. So they said, we need to dye it and preserve it with something. It was getting black mold on it. And this is what a Bassett scientist invented in 1876. And it's made of a salt, a chemical, and they put like 1,500 volts through it, and it makes this incredible product. And it's like a metallic green powder. And when you place it in water, it's blue. It goes a beautiful, beautiful blue. I'll show you. This, I can't say it cures cancer, but a man that was sent home to die 2 weeks ago, I got this message. 6 weeks before he was sent home, 3 days to live, he cancelled all his treatment. He said, there's nothing we can do for you. And his neighbour said, look, you wouldn't listen to me. Are you happy with your prognosis? And he said, no. He says, okay, I'll listen to you. He says, Leo, I've got nothing to lose. So he gave him my methylene blue. And this is his. It's an incredible product.
So it's good for many things, right?
It helps to reverse cancer. He went to the hospital 5 weeks later, still alive. They couldn't find any cancer anywhere. They're scratching their heads and that's impossible. I've got the man's name, phone number, and everything. And this is what we're seeing an awful lot of now. But Now, methylene blue is a nanoparticulate.
Why do you think it
And
works?
the thing, what happened in Africa is hundreds of people dying of malaria. And this chap said, well, if it preserves cloth, maybe it'll help the malaria. He hadn't a clue. Then he drank some. Less than 24 hours, his malaria is gone. It's now one of the biggest cures used around the world to cure malaria. And then it levels the sugar for diabetes, reverses cancer, that is, Alzheimer's disease, dementia, autism, resurrects the mitochondria in every cell of the body, including the brain. It's the best detoxing chemical you can ever have. And it's the very first pharmaceutical drug ever made. And to this day, it's still the best.
How does it work? What do you think's the mechanism?
It's got a massive electrical charge in it. And it's a nanoparticulate. And it goes right inside the cells of the body, every cell. And it resurrects the electrical charge, makes the hemoglobin swell up to absorb more oxygen, which means it can remove carbon dioxide better. So I've never known a single product have so many benefits. Now, here's what I'm doing with this. I'm putting 2 frequencies in it. There's another frequency, which is massive for it. The thing comes to life if you hit it with this secret frequency. Amazing.
I'm sorry, from where? From where?
You program a frequency into it.
What
and when
frequency?
you take it, sorry?
What frequency?
Well, I use 2, which is 432 and 7.83. One's the Schumann resonance, and the other is the natural 432 hertz. By the way, you probably know this. If you add up 432, it comes to number 9. Yeah. If you add 7.83, it comes to 18, which is 2 nines. And number 9, Tesla said number 9 is the controlling number of the universe.
Yeah.
Because it always comes back to 9. 1 9's 9, 2 is 18, 3 9's are 27, 7 and 2 is 9, 4 9's, and it goes on forever.
Yeah. And then all the solfeggio frequencies all add up to 3, 6, or 9 as well.
That's the frequency. I can.
Cool. Oh, 609,668 nanometers, which is a light frequency.
Yeah. Now, if you take polycosanol and use the resonating frequency and put that frequency in the methylene blue, you take both of them and put it into the body and hit that frequency. It opens up the DNA and the chromosomes and resets it to what it was 10,000 years ago. Now, this year, I want my med beds to be replacing, using this technique, limbs. It resurrects the memory and the DNA, and then it says, we've got something missing. It's not complete. And it should kickstart it to start.
So you're
renew the DNA coding.
So you're finding the DNA coding that was splitting that DNA in the first place as things were growing, so that that it actually gets the message to regrow.
So it's a reset. The memory is always there, and the memory is always in the water. Have you noticed there isn't any form of life on the planet that can live without water? We don't know of one. So the resonance of water is very, very important. Water has 33 phases. Most of us know liquid, solid, and gas. There's another one between liquid and when it freezes, it produces, as Emoto said, the hexagon crystals. But there's 33 other phases of water. Somebody's worked out the body's actually about 90% to 92% water. It's even part of its bone structures water as well.
You know, I would bet, well, first of all, the Schumann resonance and 432, they're kind of the main archetypal frequencies. But, it also makes me think about finding your frequency as well and getting you back to you. And
Yes.
so that would be really cool because we do a whole assessment where we can find your note. You're very close to me. You're maybe a little fast. You might be a D sharp actually. Right? So it's interesting. I would bet. So here's the question. Do you think there's a frequency or combination of frequencies that might also do exactly what you're talking about of bringing in more negative ions into the whole body to be able to deal with the positive?
Um, Potentially, I would have thought so. I've never experimented on that. I'm just arranging. I've got frequency generators now that I use to program the water.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's lovely pioneering the cutting edge, and you find that nobody's done this before. I'm the
Not
first
even
one.
close. Right.
And then you're gutted when you read a book and somebody's already done it anyway. But I love taking technologies that have only just been discovered and adding another technology that you've been working on, and it's great when it pops.
Mm-hmm.
My background's been inventions and patents, and I love the subject. It's amazing.
I'm always curious where in the body the archetypal frequencies flow and where the difference is in the body where our own frequency flows, our own metabolism, which is, the rate of our heart, the rate of our brain when we're at peace. There's obviously both systems, archetypal from the cosmos or from the planet itself, and our own metabolism. And somehow those could even be a dissonant chord or dissonant interval to each other, but somehow they work perfectly.
Um, what's really interesting is everybody has a torus around them. The Russians have got equipment where you can see it. And it extends 3 or 4 feet. And what's really interesting, when two people are making love, they're inside each other's torus. And this is what an orgasm is. It's to do with the ether. We know how it starts, but nobody has an idea on where it happens and where it finishes because it involves the whole of the torus when an orgasm takes place. And it's to do with the ether. We're all gone. That's why it's called orgasm.
Mm-hmm.
It's a capacitive implosion explosion within the ether, and we feel it.
What I really want to know is what are what's the different Tauruses there are? You said there's five, right? And what are the different aspects of those different Tauruses, and how do those correspond to songs?
Well, every torus is responsible for creating its own energy as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the
So yeah,
energy generators are Taurus
yeah,
field.
absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
One of the best energy generators, which Eric Sykes been working on, was to do with water toruses, and they put electrical field in. It's when you get two toruses next to each other, and where the torus crops over, it rips open, and that's where the energy is generated.
Oh, interesting. It's like the
Amazing.
viscopiscus
But,
of a
but
Taurus.
here's where free energy comes from. There's no resistance.
Mm.
Oh, it's stuck on my watch, sorry. Because there's no resistance, there's no bearings, there's no wheels. And it just rolls effortlessly.
Mm.
And there's your torus. Great, eh?
Mm. It's the way all energy flows. Even Nassim Harman says the whole universe and all of our galaxies have Tauruses as well. The basic
Absolutely.
structure of the universe is a Taurus.
And what's amazing is, I was talking to a guy called Stalios, who knew the guy that made translators years ago. And they did an experiment at CERN to change a form of calcium for specific medical drugs. And they wanted it to react in a certain way. And they changed it, and it went wrong. It's all right, I've got a cat this week. They
And it
changed
created a
it.
kitty.
And when they got more samples to do another experiment, the samples had changed too. And no matter how many samples they took, everywhere on the planet, that particular type of reaction for that calcium had already changed. And they abandoned progressing it.
Wow.
That's fascinating, isn't it?
Wow. It's amazing how little we know
Yes.
as to how the universe works. I mean, we're like little kids, like trying to figure it all out, huh? And we're
When you
making.
open the door, there's another bloody 20 doors appear. And you go, no.
Right. I mean, one day I just want to know the relationship between the spiritual body, the mental body, the emotional body, and the physical body. That's all. How does it
Hmm.
all relate, right? And what's the thing we can do to move people forward to be able to manifest, to be able to heal as much as possible themselves?
Um, talking to somebody in Ireland a few weeks ago, and she's got the recorder and computer software where when somebody speaks, all the illnesses are in the voice frequency. What's wrong with them?
Mm-hmm.
And when you send a frequency back, the body only accepts the frequency it needs to heal itself.
Mm-hmm.
So the body knows, and the voice speaks the resonance of any illnesses or any discords in the body is shown in the voice.
I have a voice analysis company myself,
Yeah,
software.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And that concept is really about a balance of all frequencies. So instead of finding one frequency of you, we're finding a balance of all. It's like vitamin therapy, right? So you figure out what vitamins are missing, take them, get the balance, and that's when flow happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's interesting because I when I think of it these days, I think it's all flow. Flow system, smooth flow is really the whole deal at every level of reality.
It's synchronicity. When all the synchronicities match up,
Uh huh.
you've got full communication.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you can look at it at the frequency level, it's either vibrating consistently or not. At the harmony level, which is what you just said, it's a nice chord, it's a nice relationship of all the parts. Or at the flow, at music level, it's a flow.
Um, my download on the medbed is a top secret for you.
You can tell us now.
Nobody's watching anyway. It's a perfect square, four toruses of vortices. And there's a certain arrangement of which one's clockwise and which is anti-clockwise. And then you have a large torus in the middle, which is where you sit. So there's a connection and synchronicity between all of them. And I had to I worked with a Professor Michael Clark, a physicist, experimenting with plasma fields. And we had a guy come over from the Pentagon to talk to us. Michael, the professor, was taken ill for 3 days. So I sat for 3 days in a hotel talking. He was one of the top medical chiefs for the military in the field, retired. So he was interested in medical things. And I started talking and asking questions about how I would build a med bed. And he went very quiet. And I told him how it would be, the structure of it. And he went, "Oh my God." I said, "What's up?" He said, "That's the blueprint of the looking glass."
Of the what?
The looking glass.
Looking glass. Oh.
Do you know what the looking glass is?
No, other than Alice. No.
The looking glass, they reckon Hillary Clinton did use it and it was taken away. And that's why she didn't know she was going to lose the election. The looking glass is 4 plasma spheres, toruses. And when you get it correct in the right frequency, a 5th plasma sphere appears right in the middle of them. And when you stand inside that, you can see the past and the future, and all awareness comes to you. They reckon there was 3 of these. There's only one fully functional. And that's what he told me. And he says, by the way, yes, I have seen a real medbed. He was allowed to be about 10 foot away from it. And he says, I have to tell you this, it was full of water.
Wow.
Now that makes sense to me. Water talks to water. All the frequencies resonate in the water. And if you put the frequency in the water next to the body, it talks to the water in the body, and the frequency is far more efficient. And I think that's how a medbed works.
Wow. Wow. Well, let us just resonate this intention that this will move forward at light speed, that everybody will be healed, everybody will go into higher consciousness, heart open completely, and will be in paradise very soon.
Ah, that's just a sideline. He's another great product.
Uh-huh.
Micellized oregano oil.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
I don't know where the box is gone to it. That's a great book. Get a book on the methylene blue. Incredible. The best one is, well, a good one is Mark Sloan. He's done a podcast on it. By the way, do you know what the base material, the mother material of methylene blue is to make the next product? Hydroxychloroquine. It's the mother material for hydroxychloroquine, which heals and cures malaria.
Oh, wow.
By the way, this, because it's a synthetic material, that doesn't mean to say it's bad. Body uses synthetic materials. I went down to see John O'Leary, who's an undertaker, and spoke to the coroner. And they were finding people who'd been vaccinated, and the fitter they are, the quicker they died. Where these long strands were appearing inside the veins and arteries, and the spike proteins knitting away, leaving this like snake worm thing behind it, which in fact is actually a vein and an artery being grown inside your vein and artery. Methylene blue, this one, because it's a synthetic man-made instruction, the spike protein, the body can't shut it down because the body's organic. The spike protein that they've made is genetically modified. That shuts it down within 48 hours. Methylene blue does. Wow. It's a synthetic instruction to a synthetic biological action.
Cool.
I thought that was fascinating.
Excellent. Anything else you want to share before we end?
When you try drink oregano oil, you can't mix it in water because it floats on the top like an oil slick, and when you drink it, it still sticks to your mouth and burns you. So you use this. It's emulsified, and it dissolves in water. And you can drink it. That'll cure Crohn's disease, gut problems, parasites, the wrong bacteria. Here's a fascinating thing I learned. When we were born, the umbilical cord and placenta fed us right into the belly button. Did you know there are 72,000 blood vessels in and around the belly button? Mm-hmm. And if you put things like oregano there, It absorbs it, filters it, and puts it straight into your blood. Neat. Perfectly safe. You can feel the rush when it gets to your head. But that's a great way of curing Crohn's disease because it doesn't have to go through all your digestive system and the acids. If we're not far off finishing, is an interesting one. I haven't got a bottle. I've only got this oregano marginalized. I do an oregano oil and I put frequencies into it. And 3 weeks ago, when I was going to Ireland, they stopped me at customs and took the bottle out. Something showed up on it. And they put it in one of them scanning machines. They kept me 50 minutes. I nearly missed my plane. And they said, we can't figure this out, it says, because it refuses to scan it. It comes back with nothing. So they said, well, I'll take it upstairs. We've got a £500,000 scanner. That'll sort it out. I thought, we'll see. 15 minutes later, the guy come back shaking his head. I said, I haven't a clue what this is. Even that thing can't scan it. And so we're going to have to confiscate it. I said, it's oregano oil. I'll put it on my tongue for you and show you. You can smack. No, I don't open it, but we're going to have to take it. And they took it. What was happening is the frequencies I put in the oregano oil were bouncing back and telling the scanner it was reacting with the frequencies it was hitting it, and it couldn't be scanned. I never knew that, but that's obviously what happened.
Oh my God. Cool.
So the structured water and the vortexer, when you think that we are ripped of negative ions, literally that gives you protection against EMF because you've got a massive excess of negative ions.
Yeah, it's funny. I've had 2 medical intuitives say that the blood clots are from EMF.
Yes, that stops it within a minute. Vaccine damage. I went to see I've just remembered. I can't say who the popular was. Very, very world famous, top class popular. And 4 weeks ago, I had them all at the table having the blood tested. They've had forced vaccines. Even the drummer's fingers are going numb now. He says, this will cause me problems. Every one of them got serious blood clots, and every one of them are cured within 5 minutes. Wow. And then I started working on the vaccine damage. Methylene blue is a great thing for it. People are waking up.
What's your website again?
Onlyresultscount.com.
Onlyresultscount.com. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, bing! It's like, it's just the potential to help people is just dramatic. I mean, really dramatic. And I really honor the work you're doing and hope it starts flowing better for you.
Yeah, it'd be great. Come over sometime. I'm sure there'll be some interesting conversations.
Thank you so much.